In this video, I'm going to do some 20 MCQ for class 10th science. Now, the first question here is there is a chemical reaction given and we have to identify X, Y, Z so that the reaction become balanced. Well, there may be several methods, but I prefer elimination method. Like I'm going to replace X, Y, Z with 4, 3, 2. If it is not true, then we are going to replace with the 2, 3, 2, 1, 1, and so on. So let's say if I begin with the first, like replacing X here with the first option, that is replacing X with 4, Y with 3, and Z with 2. Now check if I try, see if it is balanced or not. There are 4 aluminum atom, 2 into 2, that is 4, that's true. Then we have 3 into 2, 6 oxygen, and 2 into 3, that is 6. Well, we got the answer in the first case. If it were not true, I would have substituted X, Y, Z with 2, 1, 1 respectively, and so on to get the answer. In the second question, we are given a table and we have to find the value of X here. You can see that we are given some substances like lemon whose pH is 2.3, battery is what missing, and seawater 8.5, well, apple is 3.1. So what we know that a pH of a substance varies from 0 to, that's 0 to 14, right? And in between there is 7. So 7 is what? The neutral here, and the most acidic is 0 and the most alkaline is 14. So that you must be knowing from your chapter acid basis salts. You should know that the battery acid, the acid present in a battery is hydrochloric acid. In general, the car batteries, we are not talking about the other batteries that we use in mobile phone. They are lithium batteries, but batteries that we use, car batteries or other common batteries, they have hydrochloric acid present in them, and the pH of an hydrochloric acid is 0. So therefore, we should select the option 0 in this case. That's an MCQ. The third question is magnesium ribbon is not a ribbon, it's a ribbon, is rubbed with sandpaper before making it burn. The reason for rubbing the ribbon is, you know that magnesium is a quite a reactive metal. This metal is a very reactive. So what happens that with times it reacts with oxygen present in the atmosphere and form a layer of magnesium oxide. And this layer is quite a protective in nature and it prevents the inner layer from getting further oxidized, and it does not burn, right? It does not burn. So that's the reason what we do here. In order to burn this, first we have to remove this layer, right? The outer coating that you can see over here, this has to be removed, and we use an abrasive material. Then generally it is the sandpaper we use for removing this layer. So the answer here will be what? Removing the moisture considered. That's not correct. Generate heat due to generate heat due to exothermic reaction. That's not again true. Remove the magnesium oxide. That's correct. Let me explain you again. Magnesium, as I said, it's a reactive metal. It reacts with oxygen present in the air to form a layer of magnesium oxide. This layer prevents, this is a protective layer. It is unreactive and it prevents the inner layer from getting further oxidized and therefore preventing burning. Well, in this case, it may not be useful, but this kind of layer in case of aluminum and zinc are very useful. And that's why, in spite of aluminum being a very reactive metal, we still use it for cooking utensils, storing food, because after forming a layer of aluminum oxide, right? This layer prevents the food from getting further oxidized. So we say that aluminum, in spite being a reactive metal, we still use it for storing food, aluminum foil and all, because of this protective layer. So that's an advantage here. Like corrosion can be useful also in some cases. The next question from the chapter Human Eye says a student traces a path of ray of light through a glass prism for different angle of incidence. He analyzes each diagram and draws the following conclusion. So let me first make a diagram here. Let's say if I take this as the glass prism, And so this be a glass prism here. And what happens when a ray, let's first I make a normal here. Let's make an incident ray over here. As you can see here, the incident ray, right, will bend towards normal. Undeviated path is this, right? Undeviated path is this, but it is bending towards normal. And as you know, when it once again bend, let me show you the normal here. This is the normal to the surface. It will bend away from normal, and this is the path of light. Further, you should also know that when these rays are produced forward, these rays are produced forward, or this emergent ray produced backward, they meet at an angle, and this angle is called the angle of the deviation. Am I right? Yeah, that's the angle of deviation. Yeah, this is. Well, now if I read the options, we'll be able to figure out the correct one. The first option here says on entering the prism, the light ray bent towards the base. So what do you see? Yes, it is correct. As you can see, the light as it is entering, the ray of light as it is entering, it is bending towards the base, right? This is the base of the prism and it is bending towards the base. Yeah, it's bending towards the base. So this is a correct one. The second says that the second option here. And what is it? This is the second option. It says the light ray suffers refraction at the point of incidence and at the point of emergence. That's very true. You know that as a ray of light passes through two medium, when it changes the medium, it changes its direction. Yes, very clear from here only that a refraction is one taking at this point and at this point. And how do you get? Because here the path of light is changing. If they had the ray been gone in this direction, we'll say no refraction is taking place. So these two are correct. Now coming to the third option here, it says the emergent ray bends at certain angle to the direction of the incident ray. Yeah, that is also correct, as we know that these incident ray and the emergent ray are not parallel. In fact, they are bending with some angle. That's why we say that this is a correct. So we got the third option as well as correct. This is also third is correct. The fourth is what? The fourth says while emerging from the prism, the ray of light bends towards the vertex of the prism. Definitely not. As you can see here, this is the vertex, and the ray of light is not bending. Here, the ray of light is not bending towards the vertex, right? It's not bending above, it's bending away, in fact. And that's why this should be an incorrect option. So we have this is as an incorrect. So therefore, looking into the correct options here, what you'll say, we have 1, 2, and 3. So therefore, this should be the correct option in this case. In the third MCQ, it says the feature of reproduction that is common to these organisms. First is amoeba, spirogyra, and yeast. So you know that they all reproduce asexually, right? They have a asexual mode of reproductions. Like amoeba reproduce by binary fission, spirogyra reproduce by fragmentation, and yeast reproduce by budding. So they are all unicellular organisms and they reproduce asexually only. The next question, 6, it says, question number 6. When a white light passes through a chromatic combination of prism, then what is observed? Now, most of you write deviation, some of you write dispersion, but let's understand what is the question. Uh, as for the question, we are given achromatic combinations means what? Let's say I make one prism like this, the first, and I'm making the other prism, an identical prism, and are placed in this way. Inverted one, right? And when I allow a ray of light passing through it, let's say this is white light, and first the ray of light as it passes through the normal, it will bend, and then it's split into band of 7 colors. In the first part, it will split into band of 7 colors. But then as the other one is placed achromatic, that means they will recombine, right, to give a white light. Will be like this. Yeah, it should be like this. So what you should know that it was the Isaac Newton who actually was trying to further split that Vibgyor into other colors, but accidentally he found that he got a white light. That means in this case, this is white. This is white light, and this is this Vibgyor here. This is Vibgyor. That's band of 7 colors. And the dispersion is taking place over here, and then they are getting recombined to give a white light again. This is white. So what is the option here, right? The option as per the question is what? So we can say it's a deviation is taking place. The ray of light is bending from its path, right? The incident and the emergent ray, if we talk about, they are deviating, but we won't say it's a deviation as it is in a case of achromatic combination of prism. The next question from the chapter chemical reaction and equation, it says exposure of silver chloride to sunlight for a long duration turns gray, and we have to select which of the following are correct. So what we have studied that silver, this is what silver chloride, right? So silver chloride is AgCl. Is it Cl2? No, it's Ag. So on exposure to sunlight, it will split into Ag plus Cl2. You may balance it, but as of now, the reaction is not important. So what is happening is very clear that here the decomposition of reaction is taking place, where the silver is getting split into two products here. Silver chloride is splitting into silver and chlorine. Further, it takes place in the presence of sunlight. That's why we say it's a photochemical reaction also. It's a decomposition reaction carried out by light. Well, now we have to choose the options. So the correct options here, that is the first says that formation of silver by decomposition of silver chloride. Yes, silver chloride is getting decomposed to give you silver. This is correct. Sublimation of silver, definitely not, because sublimation is a process in which a solid turns into gas directly without turning into liquid. Decomposition of chlorine gas, no, it's not a chlorine gas here. This is silver chloride. So chlorine gas is not a reactant, so definitely not. Oxidation, not at all, because we can see from here there is a no addition or removal of either hydrogen and oxygen. So the A is the correct, or the only one is the correct answer for this. The next question from the life process says human body stores energy in the form of. So the correct answer is glycogen, but you should know more about it. The animals, when we eat food, the food is oxidized, food is digested to give you glucose, right? This is glucose which is produced, but not all glucose we use it immediately. Like we don't eat the food continuously to get energy, and a part of the food is converted into glycogen to be used as a reserve food to be used later. So the reserve source of energy in case of animal, including human body, should be glycogen. But in plants, what they do, they also produce glucose, but they temporarily store it and in the form of starch. So if it is instead of human body, if say plant, then our answer will be starch, because they store energy in the form of starch. And in case of human being or other animals, we can say that they store food in the form of glycogen. In the ninth question, it says, no matter how far you stand from the mirror, the image appears to be erect, and the mirror is likely to be. So you most of you take a snap decision and answer it plain mirror, because plain mirror always forms a virtual image. It's always erect and it's always behind the mirror, always same in size, and also things. But then you have to should see all the options, right? So concave can be real inverted or virtual erect. Convex is again virtual, right? Convex always virtual, always erect, always smaller in size. But then that's the reason why I'm saying that. You can see we have an option that is either plane or convex. So this is the correct answer. The next question from the chapter human eye, no, that's for control coordination. It says posture and balance of the body is controlled by what? So what we know that cerebrum, right? So cerebrum, what it does, it actually store informations, think, which is the thinking part of the brain. So this is not correct. Then we have cerebellum. Yeah, cerebellum. What it does, cerebellum control posture and balance, precision of involuntary action like picking pen and all. And medulla has a role to control involuntary action, but this time blood pressure, salivation, vomiting, etc. Similarly, what pons does, it again carries some involuntary action, but this is like a regulation of respiration. Well, look into the options here. The correct option will be cerebellum that controls the posture and balance. Like when when you're cycling, you try to balance your body or the balancing the cycle. So here, the part of the brain which is in function is cerebellum. The next question is from acid, bases, and salts. It says mineral acids are stronger acid than carboxylic acid because the option one is mineral acids completely ionized. That's correct. Carboxylic acids completely ionized. Not correct. Mineral acid is partially ionized. Incorrect. And carboxylic acids are partially ionized. Let's understand this. What do you know that whenever an acid is dissolved, like if I take CH3COOH, that is carboxylic acid, it releases H plus ions, which we may write as H3O plus ion. That's called hydronium ions. Hydrochloric acid is an example of mineral acid, so it also releases H3O plus ions. Right. Now, what is the difference here? That here, in case of mild or we can say organic acids, weak acids, they do not completely get ionized to give H plus ions, and that's why they are called weak acid. Conversely, mineral acid like hydrochloric acid, sulfuric acid, and nitric acid, right? These mineral acids completely ionized, and that's why we call them what's that we call them? Yeah, we call them a strong acid, right? They are corrosive in nature, causes severe burn. And uh, these are what? These are organic acids, right? And they are weak. That's why we consume them. That's a part of vinegar, right? 5 to 8% of this acetic acid in water is vinegar, and you must have consumed vinegar and along with the food. Further, you should also know that it's not the acid. Some of them, like glucose is what? C2H5. Uh, uh, C. Let's say first I was about to write alcohol. This is alcohol. It has so many hydrogen, but it will not at all ionize, and that's why this is not an acid. Glucose is C6H5H12O6. This is glucose. So many hydrogen, but it does not ionize at all, and therefore they does not come under acid. We don't say they are acidic in nature. So anyway, the option was what? That is the first and the fourth, which is this. These are the first mineral acids completely ionized, and carboxylic acids like weak acid gets partially ionized. The next is an assertion reasoning based question. The assertion says that photosynthesis is considered as an endothermic reaction. That's true, right? What is endothermic? Here, the endothermic means the energy is being used up, right? The energy is absorbed. You know that plants convert, they take the energy from the sun and that's convert them into chemical energy. So they are actually using the energy that is the photolytic energy of the sun. So therefore, this is a correct on assertion. It is an endothermic reaction. Now, the reason says energy gets released during photosynthesis. No, energy is absorbed here. Yeah, they store the energy in the form of food, which we call glucose. That's a chemical energy. So assertion is true, reason is false. So this will be C in this case. We are on the next question. It says assertion, our body maintains body sugar level. Yes, that's true. The sugar level of the body is maintained, right? So it's not like that when we eat food, right? The food is oxidized to food is digested to give glucose, and that's a part of sugar. So the level of sugar in the blood is maintained. Now, the reason is pancreas secretes insulin, which helps in regulating the blood sugar of the body. That's very good. Correct. That's correct answer. That is, it's the pancreas secretes enzyme called insulin, and it helps in controlling the level of this blood. And you know that when pancreas does not function well, it does not secrete sufficient amount of insulin, and that leads to high level of sugar in the blood, and such a condition is what we call as diabetes. I mean, the patients are called diabetic, and the disease is diabetes. So what we should say, yeah, this is correct, and the reason is also correct. Therefore, we should say both assertion reason are correct, and it is the correct explanation of the assertion. In question number 14, it says artificial kidney is used to remove nitrogenous waste from the body through the dialysis. Yes, on those persons when their kidney, both of the kidney, when they stop working because of some disease or any other reasons, in that case, the nitrogenous waste get accumulated in the body. Here, the nitrogenous waste is very poisonous. That's in the form of urea, uric acid. Urea is more dangerous. So it gets accumulated in the body and the person can die. And that's the reason why there is a technique by which this nitrogenous waste for those people or the patient whose kidney is not working, both if both the kidneys are not working, this waste has to be removed, and the process, that's hemodialysis or say dialysis, is used. That's true. Now the reason is reabsorption does not takes place in the artificial kidney. Well, what we should say that reabsorption, yeah, that's the main limitations of the dialysis, that when you blood is filtered in the normal kidney, right? When blood is filtered in the normal kidney, the excess water, glucose, and these are reabsorbed. Excess water, glucose, salts are reabsorbed in the tubular part of the nephron. But reabsorption cannot take place in the artificial kidney. That's the limitation. So we'll say that B will be correct. Both are true, but it's not the correct explanation. In the next question, it says quicklime combines vigorously with water to form a compound A. So why not write it? Quicklime is what? Quicklime is calcium oxide. And it vigorously reacts with water. That is true. It reacts vigorously with water to give you what? Calcium hydroxide. And heat is released, right? Plus heat. And this is aqueous. That's correct, to form a compound A. So we have identified compound A as of now. This is, we can say, calcium hydroxide or slate lime. Now, when I read the later part of this, it says, which slowly reacts with carbon dioxide in the air to form B. This, that is the product, calcium hydroxide. This calcium hydroxide, CaOH whole twice. It slowly reacts with carbon dioxide present in the air to form a thin layer of calcium carbonate. I mean, when it is applied on the wall, I'm talking about. This is solid, right? That's a precipitate. So we have to identify B, and clearly B is this. Now, time to look for the right answer. So A is what? The A is calcium hydroxide. Calcium hydroxide is here. And B is what? B, we say calcium carbonate. And so the option B will be correct in this case. Next question from carbons compound. It says identify the unsaturated compound. Unsaturated compound is what? Alkene and alkyne. That means alkane is saturated, ANE, and alkene is unsaturated, that's ENE, having double bond between carbon-carbon atom, one or more single bond between carbon-carbon atom, double bond between two or more, one or more double bond between carbon-carbon atom, it's alkyne, YNE. This has triple bond, one or more triple bond into carbon-carbon atom. Well, this one is saturated and these two are unsaturated. So I can identify from the name only. It's ANE, that's alkane. So it is saturated, not a correct. ENE, unsaturated, correct. YNE, unsaturated, correct. And the next is chloropropane. Okay, let me show you. Chloropropane is again part of an alkane only. So I'll show you what is alkane. Alkane is what? Propane, right? This is propane. So propane, that is C4, prop is 3, and H 6 plus 1, 7 Cl. Now, if you make its structure, you will find that it has these hydrogen atom attached and a chlorine at the end with these hydrogen. You can see throughout it has a single bond between carbon-carbon atom. So it's going to be alkane again. Well, so ene and ine, right? So that is second and third. Second and third, we have an option. Yeah, there it is. Second and third, that is D is the correct answer in this case. We are on the next question. It says, which of the following is feasible? I mean, which of the following reaction is possible? That's based on the reactivity series. What is it? From the displacement reaction point of view, potassium is more reactive than barium. Then how come barium displace potassium? So this is not possible. This is not possible or not feasible. Zinc, yeah, zinc is more reactive than silver. As you know, silver comes below very bottom of the activity series, that is after copper. So we'll say that this reaction is feasible as we have to choose only one option. So therefore we will declare this to be the correct answer. But then you should read it. Magnesium again is low, l- what is that? Below sodium in the activity series. So sodium is a very reactive metal. So this reaction again is not feasible. Copper cannot displace magnesium as copper is lesser reactive than magnesium, or conversely, magnesium is more reactive than copper. The correct answer is B. The next question from the chapter Human Eye, based on dispersion of light. It says a prism ABC with base as BC, okay, as the base, is placed in different orientation. That's correct. We can see a narrow beam of white light is incident on the prism. That's also visible. These are narrow beam of light entering through it. In which of the following case, after dispersion, the third color from the top corresponds to the color of the sky, that is blue. Okay, in that case, this is the normal prism, right? That we normally we place it. So if I write Vibgyor here, Vibgyor, and the third color from the top is yellow and not blue. So this is not correct. Conversely, you can see that here it is placed inverted. So, when dispersion will takes place, it will be opposite, right? So this time as you can see, if this is inverted, then the Vibgyor will also be inverted. That's Vibgyor. Yes, B is over here, third from the top. So that's what the color of the sky is what? We know that's blue. So everybody know this is blue color. All right, so the correct option is B. That is the second one. Option should be B. Second, this is the figure. This is the correct option here. The next question is from the chapter Heredity and Evolution. It says round green seeded pea plant whose what's that? Alices RR capital R small y is wrinkled with a yellow seeded plant. Yellow seeded and wrinkled plant is this. The seeds produced in the F1 generation. So what do we know that from here R Y will come, and from this will get smaller capital Y. All right. So as you can see, the dominant among the shape is round, and among the color it is yellow. So it's round and yellow because they're talking about F1 generation, right? F2 generation could have been complicated, but F1 generation is very simple, very simple. You know about dominant character here. Round is the dominant character, and yellow is that in the color. It's yellow is the dominant. So round yellow and round yellow. Round yellow is the option A. In the next question, it says an electric circuit with two resistors of, I made a mistake while writing. This is ohm, 2 ohm and 4 ohm, right? Are respectively connected to a 6-volt battery. That's there. The heat dissipated by 4 ohm, right? Registered in 5 joule, right? So we have to find the heat dissipated over here. What we know from Joule's law of heating, H is equal to I square RT. So you may say, sir, we know R, that's correct. And we also know the time here. The time is mentioned as T seconds. T is 5 seconds, not T second. So we know time only. What we don't know is current. So we have to find the current. And for that, I'm going to use Ohm's law. That is V is equal to IR. And from here, I can get I is equal to V by R. One more time. By writing the Joule's law of heating, which we have to find out, we figured out we do not know I and we have to find the current. Current through this 4 ohm ampere is same as current through the circuit. As you know that in series, the current remains same as you are well visible. These devices are connected in series. So let's see. V is equal to IR and I is we know we know, but we don't know R. So once again, we have to find out R and total resistance. As you know, they are connected in series. So the total resistance will be R1 plus R2. So R is equal to 2 plus 4. That is R is equal to 6 ohm. We got the resistance. All you just have to do is to plug in the value of R here. So I is equal to V by R, V is 6 and R we calculated as 6 again. They get cancelled to give you 1 ampere. Now let's place the value I square, that is 1 square into R. R is 4 ohm, right? Because we are just finding the resistance. Important thing to consider. They have asked you find the resistance at 4 ohm. So this will be 4 and the time taken is 5 second. So we get H is equal to 4 fives are 20, 21, 20 into 1 is 20 and this much joule. That's clear.